नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I would like to humbly offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, entitled The Divisions of Faith. Text number 15. अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते। Word for word meaning. Anudvegakaram, not agitating. Vakyam, words. Satyam, truthful. Priya, dear. Hitam, beneficial. Cha, also. Yat, which. Swadhyaya, of Vedic study. Abhyasanam, practice. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Vakmayam, of the voice. Tapaha, austerity. Uchyate, is said to be. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So, please repeat after me. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students. But such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. So we welcome all the devotees to this Bhagavad Gita session. And Lord Krishna in this verse, Lord Krishna in this verse, he is speaking about austerity. So, in the previous verse, this speech has started regarding austerity. So, first, Lord Krishna has explained austerity of the body. In this verse, Lord Krishna is speaking about austerity of the speech, and in the next verse, Lord Krishna will speak about austerity of the mind. So, karmana, manasa, vacha. So, these three things. If you read Srila Prabhupada book, so Srila Prabhupada very often quotes this phrase, full Krishna consciousness. Full Krishna consciousness. One must perform devotional activities in full Krishna consciousness. So, this sentence is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada says, he is saying that one must perform devotional activities or devotional service. So it is already done in one sense. If you simply say one should perform devotional service. But Srila Prabhupada is adding here in full Krishna consciousness. Devotional activities in full Krishna consciousness. So what does that mean? We have all the devotional activities, devotional services, getting up early, chanting, reading, and other services which are related to the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada is adding that all those activities are to be performed in full Krishna consciousness. That is important. That is the main thing. So then there is a verse in the purport of that verse. I think it is in chapter 9, 9.34 maybe. I am not remembering exactly. So there Srila Prabhupada explains what is full Krishna consciousness. Any one of you would like to share what is your understanding of full Krishna consciousness? Then I can say about. Mind fixed on Krishna, absorbed in Krishna. Yes. All the senses engaged in the service of Krishna. Yes. So that.
Engage our mind and senses 24 hours in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, 24 hours, satatam. So all the time we should engage our mind and senses. So in the purport there Srila Prabhupada explains that we have three aspects, the mind, the speech and the body. We work by these three things: the body, the mind and speech. Karmana manasa vacha. So Srila Prabhupada says that the body should be engaged in the service of the Lord, means the senses and the body whole. The mind should be engaged at the same time. So for example, if you are mopping the floor, so we have to think that I am mopping Krishna's temple. Srila Prabhupada gives an example that a laborer, he builds a temple, but he is thinking, how can I earn my money? While putting the bricks, he is thinking of his daily charge. How can I charge? So that is not full Krishna consciousness. He is getting some benefit because he is building the temple, but his mind is somewhere else. So if you are doing some service, Srila Prabhupada gives many times, if you are cooking, so we think that we are cooking for Krishna. So is it artificial? Because this thinking does not come naturally in the beginning stages. The thinking about Krishna does not come naturally. So is it not artificial to force our mind to think about Krishna?
Because we have to try and we have to put effort, train our mind.
Yes.
To 24 hours we should be conscious about Krishna. Whatever we do, work or whatever we do work, we should think that I am doing this work for the Krishna.
Yes, yes. So very well said. We have to practice, Srila Prabhupada says. Just like when we practice with our hand to mop the temple, similarly the mind is also one of the senses. So we have to force our mind also in the beginning to think about Krishna. It is not an artificial endeavor, because it is our natural desire to serve the Lord selflessly. That desire is, for the time being, it's covered. That is, but it will come out. If we force the mind in the beginning, that natural desire will come out, and the mind will get in tune with that desire by the practice. And that's why Lord Krishna says, the mind, if it is uncontrolled, it's your biggest enemy, and when it is controlled, it becomes your greatest friend, best friend actually. Why? Because the mind, it starts deriving pleasure in our natural activities. For serving Krishna, for chanting Hare Krishna, the same mind which was earlier reluctant, now it starts to derive pleasure. And then you would like to associate with that mind. You will become very grateful that my mind is so much absorbed, he is being connected to Krishna. He is giving so much source of pleasure. That is a source of pleasure if the mind is absorbed. So that is the second aspect, our mind. Then our speech is also one of the aspect, and our body, karmana manasa vacha. So if we are simultaneously engaging all these three senses, all these three aspects of our existence in service of Krishna, that is called full Krishna consciousness. For example, when we are mopping the temple, so by body we are mopping the temple, by mind we are thinking about Krishna's service, and with our words we are chanting Hare Krishna. So all three activities engaged together, three senses, that is called full Krishna consciousness. And if any one of them is missing, so that is not full Krishna consciousness. So if you are mopping the temple, we are reading the book, but the mind, we are allowing the mind to go somewhere else. So that is not full. But if you are endeavoring to bring back the mind, so that is considered as full Krishna consciousness, because we are endeavoring for Krishna. The mind is going here and there, but if you are trying to bring back the mind, so that is also full Krishna consciousness. So Lord Krishna here is speaking on these three levels. So today Lord Krishna is speaking about the austerity of the speech, and many places Bhagavad Gita, these three aspects are very much emphasized. because we have to work on all these three aspects while practicing Krishna consciousness. We have to work, we have to be careful that our senses are engaged, we have to be careful that our mind is also engaged, and we have to be careful that our speech is also engaged. These three activities, then only we can develop Krishna consciousness properly in our life. So anudvegakaram vakyam. Anudvega means one who does not cause udveg to others or agitation to others. So that type of speech. Satyam, which is truthful. So truthful means which is upheld, means which is spoken by the scriptures, Guru. Here truthful means absolute truth, not relative truth. So that is truthful. Priya hitam, it should be very pleasing, and hitam means for the benefit of others. So sometimes it happens the speech which is beneficial for others, it may not be pleasing at that particular time. The speech which is beneficial, it may not be pleasing. So Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport that that authority is given to the teacher, to his own students, that he can, for the benefit of his students, he can speak in one sense harshly to the student, so that student can rectify his behavior. Even Srila Prabhupada says in some of the conversations that please don't mind when I chastise you, because it is my duty as a spiritual master to chastise you. That is a duty of the teacher to chastise the disciple, so that disciple may always be on the right track. But Srila Prabhupada also warns in the purport that one should not speak agitating words to those who are not his students, who are not submissive to them. So that is one caution. But it is experienced that sometimes when we speak for the benefit of others, which is truthful, so in the beginning one may not realize the importance, but later on one realizes the importance of that speech in the later stages of life. So that is also considered pleasing and beneficial, because that will be pleasing at that particular time when one will realize. But such speech can be done by very advanced devotees. Srila Prabhupada even sometimes he used to chastise the scientists in front of them. Rascals, he would say, you are rascal. But they would not feel bad by those words of Srila Prabhupada, because there was intent of benefiting them. The motive was to benefit them. Now this motive part is also very, very important, because this only plays the main role. If we are chastising or we are speaking something for the benefit of others, if our motive is to benefit them, then that speech also brings a goodwill feeling in them, a good feeling in their heart. That happens. Now how that happens? Because Paramatma, he is in everyone's heart. Lord Krishna is reciting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. And I heard in one lecture that Lord Krishna as Paramatma, he is personal Paramatma to everyone. He is personal Paramatma. Personal Paramatma means what? You may be a sinful person, but your Paramatma is always thinking about your well-wishing. So if somebody, even though he may be good person, better than you, he is thinking of doing something, chastising your son, you will feel the Paramatma will indicate the Paramatma inside your heart. So that is the meaning of personal Paramatma. Although Lord Krishna as a Paramatma, he wants the absolute benefit of everyone, but that is a temporary thing. I am not Srila Prabhupada saying that one should speak everything what is backed up by the scriptures So I'm not speaking on that basis, because I'm speaking on the basis of experience. There is no scriptural backing, I cannot remember. So, but this is what I've heard, that Paramatma is personal to everyone. Just a minute, it's important. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, I am giving Bhagavad Gita class in temple, so I'll come after the class. ISKCON. Yes. So, yes. So, we can understand those feelings are communicated because Paramatma is there in the heart. If you are speaking with some good intent, the Paramatma in the hearts, he communicates that feeling, and therefore we don't feel bad. So that's why Lord Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita that Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati, that I am the well wisher of everyone, and that's why I have expanded in everyone's heart. Hriddeshe Arjun Tishtati, because I am Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So that you may not get lost in the material world, I give you guidance and inspiration from within for your personal benefit. So, Satyam Priya Hitam Chayat Swadhyaya Bhyasanam Chaiva. So, Swadhyaya means study of the scriptures, and Abhyasanam means practice of the study of scriptures. So, in the conditioned state, it is not always very interesting to hear from the scriptures, but we have to do practice, abhyasanam, to hear from the scriptures. So that abhyas, gradually it brings out the natural interest for hearing from the scriptures. Vanmayam tap uchyate. So all these are considered as austerity of the speech. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that very important thing, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circle is to say something upheld by the scriptures. Now this is very, very important principle, to say something which is upheld by the scriptures. Now, how do we say something which is upheld by the scriptures? It means that we say only what we have heard, or what we have read in the scriptures, or we speak from our realizations which are in line with the scriptural injunctions, or the message of the Lord and His devotees. So that thing is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada was very, very concerned about it, and in fact he was very, very particular about it. Very, very particular about it. Why Srila Prabhupada was very particular about this thing? To such extent he was particular that he has named this Bhagavad Gita as it is. As it is. There is a reason why Srila Prabhupada was so much concerned. Because in front of his own eyes he had seen the glorious Gaudiya Math getting down, crumbled. And Srila Prabhupada says the main reason was that because they did not follow the words of their spiritual master. They want to propagate their own idea, personal ideas. So that's why if you hear any conversation, Srila Prabhupada stresses very much that if we have got any credit in our success in propagating this movement, that is only due to because we have not adulterated the message. We have simply presented the message as it is. Whatever I have heard from my Guru Maharaj, that's what I am presenting to all of you, and that is my only credit. In the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada mentions. I'll just like to read the Srila Prabhupada's own words. It is very, very nice to hear from the introduction. Yes. This is the second paragraph. Our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. It is gradually becoming the most popular movement in the entire world, especially among the younger generation. It is becoming more and more interesting to the older generation also. Older gentlemen are becoming interested so much so that the fathers and grandfathers of my disciples are encouraging us by becoming life members of our great society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In Los Angeles, many fathers and mothers used to come and see me to express their feelings of gratitude for my leading the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the entire world. Some of them said that it is greatly fortunate for the Americans that I have started the Krishna consciousness movement in America. But actually, the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself. Since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by disciplic succession. If I have any credit in this connection, it does not belong to me personally, but it is due to my eternal spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Om Vishnupad Paramhans, Parivrajikacharya, Ashtotarshat, Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. If personally I have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is without any adulteration. And this is called austerity of speech, because the mind will impel us to speak something which may not be upheld by the scriptures, which may be according to our own understanding and emotions. But when we are speaking about the spiritual subject matter, it should be strictly according to the scriptural injunctions and what we have heard from Guru Parampara. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that if personally I have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is without any adulteration. Before my presentation of Bhagavad Gita as it is, almost all the English editions of Bhagavad Gita were introduced to fulfill someone's personal ambition. But our attempt in presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our business is to present the will of Krishna, not that of any mundane speculator like the politician, philosopher, or scientist, for they have very little knowledge of Krishna despite all their other knowledge. So, further Srila Prabhupada says, he criticizes the Mayavadi point of view. Srila Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya clearly says that anyone who tries to understand Bhagavad Gita from the Mayavadi point of view will commit a great blunder. The result of such a blunder will be that the misguided student of Bhagavad Gita will certainly be bewildered on the path of spiritual guidance and will not be able to go back home, back to Godhead. So, this type of Vakyam, Anudveg Vakyam, and it is Priyahitam, it is always beneficial if we strictly follow the injunctions of the scriptures and we present it as it is without any adulteration. Even though sometimes we may not able to understand what the acharyas are saying, still we should present as it is without any adulteration. So that is called austerity of speech. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada quotes, says that one should speak like the lawyer. And like a lawyer, he quotes from the law book that under this section this is written. So immediately when we say something, so we quote from the scriptures. Actually, I have read many times in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada, he is directly writing the translations of the some verses as a part of the purport. Although he is not quoting, but it's always in his language. Never ever Srila Prabhupada has spoken anything which is outside the scriptures. Although Srila Prabhupada is deeply saturated with spiritual realizations, highest spiritual realization, but he is speaking at the Madhyamadikari level. You can see Srila Prabhupada, although he is a topmost Vaishnava, Uttamadhikari, but he has come down at the Madhyamadhikari level and he is preaching in that level. So one should not misunderstood that Srila Prabhupada has not given us the highest thing, because Srila Prabhupada has voluntarily come down at this level, because for sake of preaching one need to discriminate. So one has to come down at the Madhyamadhikari level and preach according to the level of the audience. So that is called preaching with intelligence. So that is one sign of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm for Krishna's service means endeavoring with intelligence. If you are making some endeavor, one should make that endeavor with intelligence, that how this endeavor is going to benefit Krishna's service, enhance Krishna's service, and we have to make all the plans. Once Srila Prabhupada asked some of his disciples that how this Krishna consciousness movement will spread, what is the key? So some disciples said that if we develop love for Krishna, some disciples said that if we chant Hare Krishna. So they said, but Srila Prabhupada said organization. Organization. I think it was Srila Giriraj Swami Maharaj, I don't remember exactly. Srila Prabhupada said organization. If you an organization needs intelligence. You cannot just leave things unorganized and expect that it will flourish because I am devoted to Krishna. No. Organization requires intelligence, it requires giving up lethargy, it requires continuous follow-up. All these things are required. It requires taking up anxiety for Krishna's service. So if we think that everything will go on automatically, it means that we are not ready to take up the anxiety for service of Krishna. So that organization is required, and that is called enthusiasm, means endeavoring with intelligence. So similarly, a Madhyamadhikari, he discriminates between the three types of devotees and he preaches to them according to their level. To Madhyamadhikari, to Kanishtadhikari, and to those who are innocent and those who are envious. So he preaches according to that. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. So many times in the conversations, first Srila Prabhupada will have very heated arguments with somebody, and then at the end of the argument he'll joke something. So and then everybody will become very jolly, and then he will offer some prasadam, take prasadam. So in that way Srila Prabhupada is very, very expert. He has a heated argument, and then at the end everything becomes nice. So this is called expertise, and this requires a high degree of Krishna consciousness. It does not come artificially, but it comes, this expertise, it comes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went, he started this first Asahayog Andolan, non-cooperation movement, Srila Prabhupada says. That was the first non-cooperation movement against Chandkazi. So they took all the masals, these torchlights, and they were marching towards Chandkazi house, and they were saying, burn the Kazi, burn the Kazi. And they were very angry, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I'll personally burn the Kazi. Why he broke the mridanga, why he tortured the devotees. and they were marching, and then when they reached near the house Chand Kazi, he saw so much people. It is said that demigods also appeared in that, so it was very very crowded, and lakhs and lakhs of people were marching towards Kazi's house, and Kazi, he went and hid somewhere in his house, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went there and he called the Kazi, and then he did not came out, so then he sent the message that we will not harm you. So then Kazi came out, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said very interesting thing. He said, why are you hiding? I am your relative, I am your nephew, and I have come to meet you. Why are you hiding? So Chand Kazi became relaxed, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talked with him very nicely. It was a very nice conversation, that why they eat cows, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted from the scriptures, that from the Quran only. Then Chand Kazi accepted that yes, that we do wrong, that they are in our sampradaya also, in Muslim sampradaya also, not sampradaya, in Muslim community also, we have two types of religion, just like you have pravritti marg and nivritti marg. So in Muslim community also we have one path of sense gratification and one path of complete renunciation. I think they are called Sufis or something. Complete renunciation. So he said that path is better. So in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his own speech, he showed how to deal with others. And then in Varanasi, with Prakashanand Saraswati also, we can see how he is dealing. Prakashanand Saraswati, he was criticizing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he has become a sentimentalist sannyasi. He is degrading the community of the sannyasis. So the South Indian Brahman, he could not, I think it was not South Indian Brahman, some other Brahman was there. Maharashtrian Brahman, yes. Maharashtrian Brahman, he could not tolerate that, so he thought, I will make him meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he sat down at the place where everyone is putting his the sandals. So he sat down at that place, and he just simply was sitting, and by this he attracted them. You can see, he attracted them and then he defeated them. He attracted them and then he defeated them very soundly. And it was very, very pleasing to them. Although they were defeated, but it was very, very pleasing to them. So how he is able to defeat, and at the same time it is very, very pleasing. Another incident is also of Keshav Kashmiri. Keshav Kashmiri, it is like very nice pastime, where Keshav Kashmiri, he speaks with speed of wind 100 verses in the glorification of Mother Ganges. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he points out that in the 61st verse or 62nd verse, you have said the words Bhavani Bhartur. Bhavani Bhartur. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that is wrong, because Bhavani itself means husband of Lord Shiva, wife of Lord Shiva, Bhava. Wife of Bhava is called Bhavani. And you are saying Bhavani Bhartur means husband of wife of Lord Shiva. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it is like this example, that if you say that you give this thing to the husband of the I am not able to say, I am also confused. It means that the wife has two husbands. Now wife has two husbands, means you give this to husband of wife of Lord Shiva. Am I correct? Husband of wife of, yes, correct, na? Bhavani Bhartur means husband of wife of, it means Lord Shiva is husband of Mother Parvati, and then Mother Parvati has some So he gives example of a Brahman, that you, in that way. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that this is a mistake. Bhavani birth. If you have to say husband of wife of Lord Shiva, you directly say you give this to Lord Shiva. Bhavani Bhartur. So Bhavani word is, you can say Parvati Bhartur, Uma Bhartur, but if you say Bhavani Bhartur, it is like repeating the same thing. Bhavani itself means wife of Lord Shiva. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he pointed out this mistake and many other mistakes, so that Keshav Kashmiri, he became totally numb. He could not speak anything. And he was thinking, what has happened to me? He was praying to Mother Saraswati, but no intelligence was coming. So he went to his home, and meanwhile the students were laughing. They were thinking, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you should not criticize, you should not laugh at him. He will come and he will again say something. So he was very, very mindful. And then when next day he had a dream, Keshav Kashmiri, Mother Saraswati appeared to him that he is my Lord himself, how can I speak? You go and take shelter. So Keshav Kashmiri says that, Lord, I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord, because only you can do that. Only you can crush my ego without hurting me. Without hurting me, you have crushed my pride. So that is a Anudvega Karam Vakyam. That without hurting, the person was cured. So this is because Lord Chaitanya or any of the pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they do not have any envious feeling towards anyone. Rather, they have only well-wishing feeling whenever they are pointing out some mistake of others. They only want their benefit. So this intent is very, very important, and this is one of the very, very important feature of a devotee, that he is always well-wishing to others. Always well-wishing to others. This is a practice. It is not that we have to wait for very high elevation to come to this, but if we practice even artificially, we can feel the bliss of this practice. Well-wishing for others and seeing the good qualities in others. That is very, very important. When you are seeing something, so there may be bad qualities, there are good qualities. But if we focus ourselves on the good qualities, Krishna in the heart becomes very, very pleased. And that is 100% sure. 100% sure way of pleasing the Lord is to see always good in others. Whatever little good is there, we see, and Krishna becomes very pleased. And when Krishna becomes pleased, we can experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness. So that is the sum and substance of this verse, Anudvega Karam Vakyam. So thank you all of you very much. If there are any questions or comments, you can.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, as we are in the Srila Prabhupada's movement, and we study, we hear what Prabhupada, how Prabhupada used to behave with other peoples. He was never envious with anyone, or he was never antipathic to anyone. So knowing this also, why don't we practice those things?
Yes, because we are in the conditioned state. So we are not able to practice consistently these things. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, when he is predicting that in future a religion will appear which will cover all the religions. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicts. And he says there, certainly there is a need of a society which will do these activities, and certainly in the beginning no society is pure, but gradually the purity will come. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says like this. So gradually the purity will come. If we continue practicing this process of Krishna consciousness, it will happen. For some it may come quickly, for some it may take time, but surely it will come if we are sticking to the process throughout our life. If we are sticking and being careful of not offending others. If we offend others, then that Ramchandra Puri, that type of mentality, it will come, depending on how severe is the offense, even till that point. But if we, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says just one thing. If you do one thing and if you do not do one thing, I will take you back home, back to Godhead. If you do one thing and do not do one thing, can you say, anyone knows?
Chant Hare Krishna and don't criticize.
Chant Hare Krishna and do not criticize others. Just do one thing, chant Hare Krishna and do not criticize others. That is sufficient. That is sufficient to develop all these good qualities. Bhagavatam it says, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasitesu. All these qualities will automatically develop if we just focus on chanting Hare Krishna, and chanting Hare Krishna will be effective if at the same time we focus on not criticizing others and not committing offenses. We have the list 10 offenses, and if we are carefully avoiding all those 10 offenses, very quickly we can derive the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna.
Oh, my point is hearing. Hearing is very important.
Yes, hearing is, yes. Thank you.
What we hear, we should practice.
Yes.
So why don't we practice that?
Yes, Narottam Das Thakur, when he approached Loknath Goswami for initiation, so all of you know the story, I will not tell that. So Loknath Goswami, first he orders Narottam Das Thakur to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for 1 year. And after that he starts giving instructions to Narottam Das Thakur. Although Narottam Das Thakur does not require that, he was already submissive. But chanting for 1 year, it means that the heart is initially not prepared to accept the teachings. Heart is initially not fertile enough to accept the teachings. It requires some purification, so that what we are hearing, we may able to follow that from our heart. So when it becomes sufficiently purified, automatically we will start following. Now how this purification happens? It happens by practicing this process under the guidance of devotee in the association of devotees. When we are following, like we were studying in base, so we were under some authority and we were serving under that authority and chanting Hare Krishna. So everything we were doing under the authority. And because of that, sometimes some things we would not like to do, some things we would like to do, but we were following. So by that process of sticking to the instructions of the authority, the process becomes very faster, very, very fast. If we follow in the instruction of some authority and practice in the association of devotees. If we don't follow the authority, surely we will follow the mind. There is no alternative. There are only two alternatives. In the beginning stages, we will follow the mind. So as we practice, purity will come and we will be able to accept the teachings. That is the way. We are not able to follow because the heart is not right now prepared. When it will be prepared, we can follow. Yes.
In first canto, Sutta Goswami and Shravan Rishi, Shukdev Goswami Maharaj connection. So they are having very nice exchange. May you live for many years. So Prabhupada says courteous dealings amongst the devotees, polite and considerate. that he is teaching. So, can you give some more examples? Because you are so well read in Shastras, from Bhagavatam, 12 cantos, Chaitan Chaitamrit, of good speech. Yeah.
So in Chaitan Charitamrit, there is one very nice incident. It is one of my favorite incident. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he runs for Jagannath Puri, and when he first time sees Lord Jagannath, he faints in the temple, and then the high priest of Lord Jagannath, he appears. He is very very famous in Jagannath Puri, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, topmost Advaitvadi at that time, and people, he was like personal priest of the king that time, very very elevated position. And he comes before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he says, he was attracted to the Lord, and he says that I will teach you the Siddhant of Advaitvad, and you are a sannyasi but you are very beautiful, so it is very difficult for you to maintain your sannyas because you are very beautiful and young. So I will make you strong in your intellect so that you can maintain your sannyas order. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, said, yes, you are like my father, please instruct me. And then he starts to speak the Advaitvad philosophy, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he hears it and he does not speak anything. You see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dealing. He is not arguing back, but he has adopted a different way to attract his attention. He is not speaking anything, and finally Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya says, what is the matter? Why are you not speaking anything? Well, there are two possibilities. Either you don't understand anything, or you understand everything. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, now when Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya has asked from himself, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is presenting his point. You can see that he is thinking that he is following the etiquette, not directly counteracting. But finally when Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the verses of Bhagavatam are as clear as the sun, but your interpretations are like cloud on the sun. And Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya is shocked. He is thinking what he has replied. He is straightforward, but still, then Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, he asks, okay, if you know something better, please explain. Then further Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, and Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya is defeated, the high priest of that time, and here is a new sannyasi. Nobody knows him in Jagannath Puri, young like his grandson, and he has defeated Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, the greatest of that time. You can imagine what is the situation. It's very very thrilling situation. The young person, he has defeated the high priest of that time. And Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was pleased very very much by the arguments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amazing, it's the Lord, how he deals and how is the devotees deals. And if you want to understand more, I personally like to very much hear the conversations of Srila Prabhupada. There are around 206 conversations, something 230 or something. Very very interesting, and it shows how Srila Prabhupada is personally dealing. In the classrooms, Bhagavatam, there is very formal approach, but in the conversation, Srila Prabhupada is personally dealing with the guests. So you can say, if you want, you can hear more. You can see how Srila Prabhupada is dealing. Is that okay? Yes.
Oh, thank you very much for your wonderful explanation of this possibility of speech. In discussion, it's very good point you took out, like Prabhupada said that I follow the instructions of my spiritual master, and other disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur were not successful because they had their own ideals. So that's why whatever reason that they could not be successful. But let us say, if we see this God, how should we see ourselves? that I am not like putting my own idea in all circumstances, not preaching or speaking. I am expecting whatever Srila Prabhupada has given me and I'm presenting it as it is.
Yes.
Is there any like parameter or we can see?
Yes, certainly it is very difficult. It is not easy because when you are speaking. But the safety point is that the more we hear and read from Srila Prabhupada and spiritual master, so automatically those things will only come out. And if you do not read from any place outside, if you have reading from outside, and if you are reading from Prabhupada, the mix will come out unintentionally. If you are reading or hearing from any other place or source, unintentionally their thoughts and ideas which affected you, it will come out in the speech. But if you are strict of hearing and reading only from Srila Prabhupada, what will come out? You have nothing else. Only the words of Prabhupada will come out. And when we are reading and hearing, so at the same time we are praying that please make me act according to your desire, and please make me speak what you want me to speak. I don't want any personal credit, but I only want that I can speak what you want me to speak. So that is a consciousness.
One more thing, like in Papa Srila Prabhupada says, when we speak, it should be backed up by Shastra.
Shastra.
No nonsense talk.
Yes.
So, but in your like explanation, you said that what we have heard also, that is also like when we speak, so it is backed up by Shastra.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this, let us say if A person hears something from his authority and B person hears something from his authority.
Yes.
And if they speak differently on the same topic,
Yes.
so
Yes, so that is a practical thing. So when I say that we have to speak what we have heard, so that hearing means hearing from the bona fide acharya. So that hearing do not mismatch. Even if there are different speakers, if they are actually bona fide, there will be no mismatch. It will be perfectly in line. So that's why Prabhupada says, in order to advance in Krishna consciousness, one has to be thoroughly intelligent. Thoroughly intelligent means what? The purpose of intelligence is that you should be able to discriminate what is bona fide, what is not bona fide. So that thorough intelligence is required to be able to discriminate which subject matter is bona fide and which is concocted. And it is not very difficult if you simply read Prabhupada book. That's what Prabhupada suggested. You read every day at least 2 hours, discuss from my books. So 2 hours means when you are discussing 1 hour Bhagavatam, 1 hour Bhagavad Gita, that becomes 2 hours discussion. So Prabhupada says every day you must read or discuss from book. We will understand what is bona fide, what is not bona fide. Okay.
thank you.
So thank you all of you very much. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.